What's good, y'all? It's Solution back at it with another YouTube video, and we're back at it again with my mental gym frameworks that I'm going to be teaching you guys that will help you become extremely successful and achieve all of the goals that you are after. I've already made several videos of the mental gym frameworks, so please go check those out. They're really helpful, really beneficial, hopefully really informational, and I think they could also help you out. But for today, we are going to be talking about the framework of confidence. So let's get right into it. So this is also one of my favorite frameworks, tied with the adaptability framework, because it is a framework that a lot of guys need, that they realize that, oh, I need this, but I don't have it, and it can be really, really beneficial to have so you can achieve all of your goals. So let's get right into it. So confidence. So the definition I came up with is the feeling of certainty that you can do a skill that will help you achieve your goals. So a big thing that a lot of people want is confidence, but nobody really explains it. They just say, oh, just be confident, bro. You just need confidence, bro. It's like, okay, cool, thanks for telling me that, but how do I get that? Like, what is it? Like, I don't really understand it. And I have personally struggled with this because there was a point for me where I wasn't confident. And I was like, well, how do I get confidence? Like, I want to be confident. How do I even do that? But like, no one could like really explain it in a way that I felt was actionable and made sense. And that's what has led to the creation of the confidence framework in the mental gym, right? So it's awesome, but we learn from the things that normally make us suffer, which is really cool. It's a cool thing about life. But back to the main point. So basically, the definition I came up with is the feeling of certainty that you can do a skill that will help you achieve your goals. And what most guys are after is this feeling of certainty. Why? Because people don't like feeling uncertain. I know for a fact you don't like feeling uncertain. You don't like feeling like you can't do something if you need to do it or you want to do it. It feels weird. It feels bad. You're like, bruh, I don't know if this is going to work. But that uncertainty, it's just a bad feeling. But you've also felt when you were certain, and you love that feeling. You love feeling like you're in control, right? Feeling like when you do something, an outcome is basically guaranteed to be in your favor. It's an incredible feeling, and it 100% helps a ton when it comes to achieving your goals. Because if you're able to do something and it can guarantee an outcome that will help you achieve your goals, you're like, oh, hell yeah, this is lit, this is great. I'm loving life right now. So what I realized is that how can we make it to a point where you always have this feeling with everything that you are doing, with the skill you need to have? And speaking of skill, the last framework I just talked about was skills and learning skills. That was the last framework I just talked about in my previous mental gym video. So please go check that out because that will lead directly into this. Because in order to have confidence, you need to have a skill. There is no confidence without a skill, of course, because you don't be like, I am confident. Like you're like, okay, I'm confident. But like, what does that mean? It means you're confident in something. There's something even when you're confident in another person, like I'm confident in them. When you're saying that, what you really mean is you have a feeling of certainty that that person can do a skill. Obviously, like the help to achieve your goals part is that's how I create all of my frameworks to make sure that all of the frameworks I'm teaching you are in the context of becoming successful and achieving your goals. That's why the definition is like this, will help you achieve your goals, because that's the whole reason why you're here and you are learning from me, because you want to do that. So that's why this is always on the end. But this is just for the example I'm explaining, right? So when you're talking about somebody else saying you're confident in them, what you're saying is the feeling of certainty that you have that they can do a skill. When you say you're confident in yourself, it means you're confident that you can do a certain thing. And that's what makes you confident in yourself. So in order to have confidence, guys, we need to have a skill. And I'll quickly go over basically what I talked about in the skills video, which you should 100% go check out so you can understand how you will basically build confidence. So basically, if you need a skill to get confident, then the question would be, oh, how do I get a skill? Well, it's really simple, right? So I'll just make it small here. So skills. So how do you get skills? So first, know. And what I mean by know is that you have to have knowledge. You need to know how to do something in order to be able to start doing it, right? In order to learn how to write, like you probably learned how to write or read or whatever, hopefully you guys know how to write. right? So in order to know how to write, somebody had to show you. You had to see it happen. And then you had to mimic the behavior. And that's where we get into 2, which is test. Meaning this is basically copying the know. You copy the know, right? Basically, you get the information from someone who knows how to do the skill, by the way. The know comes from someone who is credible. And a credible person is someone who has achieved the skill that you want, right? So your parent could be a credible person to learn from for how to write, because your parents probably know how to write, for example, right? So you get the know, and then you now have to test it, right? And once you've tested the know, you've performed the skill. But that doesn't mean the skill is at the level you want it to be. So what that means is, it's not, do I have the skill, do I not have the skill? It's at what level do I want the skill in order to achieve my goal, right? And that's where we get into 3, which is practice plus feed. Meaning, once you get the knowledge of the skill, then you test it, then you must practice to get the skill at the level you want it, and you need to get feedback to make sure you're practicing in the correct way. Because sometimes we can be practicing a skill wrong, which means we'll never get the skill at the level we want it to be because we're practicing it the wrong way. So you have to go get feedback. So then that's what leads you back to know. And then that's how the cycle goes for skill building. Right? Really simple. You can check out the full version of my skills and skill learning video in the other previous videos so you can understand it better, because I explain it in a more wide way. But I just wanted to put it here to make sure you guys know it, because it is a part of the confidence definition, right? So you need to have a skill. So meaning you need to go know, you need to test it, you need to practice it, get feedback on it to make sure you're doing it correctly. And then you have your skill. So then you have the feeling of certainty that you can do what you've learned, the skill, right? Cool. So now that you have a skill, let's say you have this skill, right? Then how do you make sure you have this feeling of certainty? How can we guarantee this? Because the interesting thing about confidence is you can have a skill and still feel uncertain. Isn't that horrible? Like, you can know, you can test, you can practice to get it to the level you want, you can get the feedback you need, and we can still feel uncertain. Why? Because life gets in the way, guys. There's other people's opinions, and I know all of you have experienced stuff like this. We all have, where we might be able to perform a skill, but we feel uncertain still. Why? Other people's opinions, people talking shit about us, we fuck up or make a mistake, and we're like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, you know what I mean? You start to talk down on yourself just because even though you've maybe even done that skill hundreds of times, you're like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. People are saying I'm shit. And basically, life gets in the way of our certainty, of our feeling of certainty that we're able to do stuff. It gets in the way. And what ends up happening? We forget what we're capable of. And doesn't that suck? And when you forget what you're capable of, it becomes really difficult to achieve your goals, right? Because you need the skill, right? Because you need the skill. And if you're uncertain in the skill, you'll feel nervous. You'll feel uncertain. You're like, I don't know if this can really work the way I want it to work, even though I've done it 100 times. You know, your mind starts to get in the way, and you don't perform at the best you could be. Because obviously when you're feeling certain is when you can perform at your best. Isn't that correct, right? So you want to make sure you're always feeling certain. So how do we always feel certain when life is guaranteed to get in the way? How do we always feel certain when there's things out there that we can't control that make us feel uncertain and forget what we're capable of? Well, we have to remind ourselves. We need to be reminded more than we need to learn. We need to remember more than we need to be taught. Because we've done the skill. You've done the skill. You've gotten the skill. You went and watched the skill framework video, gotten your skill tested and practiced it and got feedback on it, and you continue to practice to maintain the skill. But how do we get that certainty? When life gets in the way, you have to remind yourself of what you're capable of. And that is what has led to the framework for confidence, which is you create a success page. Success page, right? Success page. And the beautiful thing about the success page is it prevents life from getting in the way. It prevents life, even when life gets in the way, you're going to have your success page that is going to get you the feeling of certainty that you need to continue to help you achieve your goals. So what is the success page? So essentially what the success page is it reminds you of your capabilities. It reminds you of the skill that you have earned from following the skill framework. By knowing, testing, getting practice, and feedback from having the skill, now the success page will remind you of this. And the beauty about the success page, this is similar to the urgency list that I talk about in my discipline framework video. The success page, essentially, is going to be a collage of things that remind you of the skill that you want to have the feeling of certainty for. And it can come in many forms, right? It could be, just to give you examples, because what I also want to say is you have creative freedom with this. You have complete and utter creative freedom with this for your success page. All the success page needs to do is remind you of the evidence that you can do the skill. Because certainty comes from evidence. The feeling of certainty comes from evidence. And it being fresh in your mind. That's where the certainty is going to come from, even though life can happen and whatever else happens, right? So basically, it could be photos. Oh, what the? Bro, I just drew an R. What the heck am I doing? It could be photos. It could be photos. Photos. So if you have a picture, let's say you're the skill you're doing is you're a three-point shooter in basketball, right? And you want to remind yourself of your capability to shoot threes. Well, you could go get a picture from after a game, your best three-point shooting game that you took. Let's say you took it with your friends or your other homies who you play basketball with or whatever, your teammates, and basically you put that picture in your success page. And to also say about the success page, the success page is just a page, meaning it could be on a piece of paper, it could be in your phone notes app, it could be a poster you put up in your room, the success page it just needs to be on a page that you can view, right? It could even be on your computer if you're using some note system. I recommend Notion, which is a great place to take notes. I'll leave that in the description. But basically, it's just a page you can view. That is the success page, something you can view. And what is in it is then what I was just talking about. You could put photos. So like I said, for the skill of three-point shooting, if you want to remind yourself of your capabilities of shooting threes, you could take a picture that maybe you took of after the game, or let's say they take pictures at your game and there's one of you shooting, and then that will remind you of that game, like, damn, I was cooking that game, right? When you were shooting. And then you put that in your success page. And then boom, now you have a picture that always reminds you of the skill you have earned. So even when you might not be confident in your shooting, at some point something stifles you, somebody says a snarky little comment or whatever, you're like, nah, fuck that, man. You go to your success page, you look at that picture, and you're like, nah, bro, I can do that skill. I have the certainty. And then obviously at the same time you're practicing the skill, and then boom, now you have your certainty at its max level. Because it's fresh in your brain what you're capable of from looking at that photo, and you're practicing the skill. And then you see how this becomes beautiful. You become literally unstoppable. You always feel certain. So there's photos. You can do text messages about something, right, for a skill. So let's say a coach says you're one of the best, sends you a text message. It's like, your threes today were some of the most insane I've ever seen. And then you can now have that text message saved. And then every single morning or whenever you want to do it, you can look at your success page and read that text message. And you're like, yeah, I am fucking good at shooting threes. And then boom, you have that feeling of certainty again, right? And then it continues, like you could do photos, text messages, posters of maybe you winning an award or something, a poster, pictures, text messages, photos, posters. You can even just have you can have objects. You can have a picture of an object, just objects. Like, I'm telling you, and the list just goes on and on. It just keeps going on and on. Whatever you can put into the success page that reminds you of this skill is a thumbs up. You can put it there. Because like I said, the only thing the success page is here to do is remind you of the skills you have earned. Of the skills you have earned. From finding the knowledge, testing the knowledge, and practicing the shit out of the skill and getting feedback on it so you have the skill, and then continuing to remind yourself of the ability you have so that life doesn't get in the way of you feeling certain and achieving your goals. Really cool when you think about it, right? You can have this thing that basically combats life so that you always feel confident about what you're doing. Because, unfortunately, because a lot of people are not good at explaining confidence or have not really explained confidence, we get into things like fake it until you make it. Why the fuck would you want to fake anything? Why would you want to fake anything? Because if you fake something, first, you've lost trust in yourself. Because you are putting on a facade by faking that you have a skill, number one. Number two is if you fool other people, that's even worse. Because now, not only do you know that you are a fraud, other people know that you are a fraud. And now you have to walking around knowing, I am a fraud, and if everybody finds out, they're going to be like, bro, you fucking lied about who you are. Or, more importantly, the skill that you have. Very, very, very shitty feeling. Don't fake anything. Earn it until you make it. Everything on my page, channel, whatever, will be about earning. Everything must be earned. Everything worthwhile in life must be earned. Must be earned. At least that's what I believe. If you disagree, you can click off the video and just keep faking shit till you make it. Hopefully you make it. Anyway, yeah. It's just that's just a really important disclaimer I want to give you guys. Do not fake anything till you make it. Get real certainty by doing the real work of getting the skill and reminding yourself of the real work. Don't let people who don't know you throw you off from your certainty. And in those moments where you feel like you're getting thrown off, remind yourself of the shit you've done. Through the pictures, the text messages, the posters, the objects. From the practice that you're putting in. From the feedback you're getting back from somebody who has achieved the skill that you want. And always testing it all out. When you do real work, you get real confidence, real satisfaction, and real goals, right? And that's what you're here to do, right? Cool. So once again, confidence, the feeling of certainty that you can do a skill that will help you achieve your goals, right? And the skill part of it, you can go to my skill framework video, but essentially it's the know. You go get the information from somebody who has achieved the skill, you test the information, you practice it and get feedback on it until it gets to the level that you want it to be at, and then of course you maintain it by continuing to practice, and then obviously you go perform the skill in order to achieve whatever the goal is, and you have your success page, which I personally recommend you read every day, because you wake up every day and you don't know what is going to happen. You know, there's things in life that are out of our control. We don't know who's going to say what to us that day or whatever is going to go on. So it's always great to start your day reminding yourself of the evidence, right? It's always great to start your day reminding yourself of the evidence so you can start the day with a strong feeling of certainty to be able to accomplish your goals on a daily basis. And once again, you have freedom with this. If you don't feel like you need to read your success page every day, then don't read it every day. If you feel like you need to read it every day, which is what I recommend. That's what I do. I read my success page every day. And of course, all of these things I do, by the way, all these frameworks, I do them so that I feel confident in myself. For example, when I'm teaching you guys this, write my success page about this, and now I have these YouTube videos to refer to as my success page, right? For example, you know what I'm saying? It gets really cool when you give yourself that kind of freedom to do it whatever way you want when it comes to referring to your evidence of your skills for achieving your goals, right? It's really an amazing feeling. So you have your success page wherever you want to have it, notes app. You can have posters in your room. You can write this on a piece of paper. You can use Notion on the computer, which I will link in the description. It's just a note page. It's really, really, really great. And I think all of this will help you achieve your goals and have that strong feeling of certainty that most guys are after. And I really do hope that I explained this well. So yeah, so pretty much be confident, guys. Use this, clip it, frame it, save it, write this down, pause this video, frame it, whatever you need to do to remember this. Use this framework to help you achieve all the goals you are after. And of course, please, 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 please give me feedback on if I've taught well, if I've taught bad, good, or whatever, because feedback is what I need to continue to increase my skill and then make my own success page showing that I'm actually good at what I'm doing so that I can have real certainty and achieve real goals and do what I need to do. And of course, please, please, please like the video so this can get boosted in the wonderful YouTube algorithm, which I'm still learning, but so this can get boosted in the YouTube algorithm and a ton of other guys can get this, learn how to become confident, learn my other frameworks, and become extremely successful and have all of the beautiful things that come with that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next YouTube video. Peace.